match is now officially a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
I can see my fantasy, I'm so consumed in bed. What I see takes over me, I'm blind beyond repair.
The song fucks harder than any man I've ever been with.
It does. So right now it's just kind of us. We're waiting to see if Russ and his 100% USDA grade A prime beefcake self is going to show up and just pose with that title. I am Ethan, and you can find me at Jensen Collins 3 on Twitter. And the gentleman to the left of me,
I'm PK Batman. You can find me at PK Batman. Fuck, I'm Clinton. I'm tired. I had to host a whole ass quiz earlier before we did this shit. It went quiz dynamite. I'm right back here. I'm tired.
Which, you know what? Let's just take the opportunity to plug it. Fantastic quiz. And you can go and watch that on Jord of the North. It's Twitch/Jord of the North.
Oh no, it's up on our YouTube page right now.
And it is on our YouTube page. So check that out. We'll post a link to it on the Facebook page as well.
Yeah, but you know what? Dynamite curse strikes again. It was great up until the Blackpool Combat Club.
So you know what I'm going to start calling this?
The Dynamite Theory?
I'm going to call this. I'm going to just hear me out on this. I'm going to call this the Magnum. This is the Magnum effect. So anybody that lives in this area and has ever been to Cedar Point, like the Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania area, they just know. The Magnum. And then the ride just falls the fuck off after that point. That's the one. It's got one real good drop, and then the rest is just little drops. It's not like the Millennium Force, which I believe is the best roller coaster ever built. But that's just how this show just goes like that. And I have to continue to subscribe to the theory that I produced earlier. This is a 3-hour show, and the second that second hour of Dynamite is the middle, and that's like that's the lull before the rampage kicks back up, and you got to stop that.
I don't know why the fuck they had a main event for 9 minutes. Well, granted, if there was any match that needed to be 9 minutes tonight, it was anything involving Jeff Hardy.
Yeah,
but I see why they ended with that match with the whole run-in. It looks like we're gonna get an 8-man tag at Double or Nothing between the Bucks and Red Dragon versus Sting, Darby, and the Hardys.
And I think the reason they ended with that instead of the male Joker is because
that was underwhelming as fuck to me.
John's a good worker. That's not a draw.
Now Maki Ito is a fucking draw. And you know what? I wish Russ was here right now because I want to fight with him about this.
Maki Ito's a draw to you. I will let you fight with him for 20 minutes later. If you would have had, if he had pulled Cesaro, if Tony had pulled Cesaro, that would have been the main. My belief, that would have been the main. And I personally believe that I don't know how he didn't, because that's the guy that should look. If you're not going to have Dax Harwood win this tournament, it should have been Cesaro. And I'm at the point where I don't.
Samoa Joe should win at this point.
Yeah. And for the female side, Chris, but I think Chris is going to lose to Red Velvet.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's just to get that whole baddie thing. Hey, I figured out how to do polls in the chat. So people, there's going to be polls if you're on our Twitch channel that'll pop up right on the side there. So you can tell us all of your thoughts.
Yep, I voted mid, just like MJF.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but that segment was fantastic.
Yep.
That might be my favorite, like, no-sell smile of all time. Just got whipped in the back and just shrugged it off. It was wonderful. That segment was gold. Honestly, I'm on the whole. It was a good Dynamite. It was. There were a few negatives in it. Maki Ito coming back immediately makes it a 3 out of 5 show.
I just don't have. So it's a rare one where, like, usually we have a lot of criticisms about it, or we have a lot of praise. I don't have a lot of either.
I don't either. Like, first of all, the Muscle Buster, when he's got that run before it, That's the best. That might be my favorite finishing move. But like we were talking in the chat, we had Russ in there, and I just straight up was just like John Morrison, Elite, whatever you want to call him now, has the worst finisher in all of professional wrestling. That Starship Pain looks like shit. He needs a new finisher.
Yeah.
If he's gonna establish himself at all, he needs a new finisher.
I'm gonna get my one major beef of this show out of the way, and it's not gonna be the Thunder Rosa segment, which probably should have been if it wasn't for the Jericho Appreciation Society that started off so strong and so heated. And then after they did the line of "You want anarchy, you'll get anarchy," but Jericho should have shut the fuck up right then. That segment should have ended right there. After Moxley was done talking, Jericho accepts the challenge, end the segment right there.
Yes.
You don't need the rest of that.
No, I did like the whole he called you a condescending prick, and then Eddie Kingston just looked at Bryan Danielson and went, "You are. We good?" And just kept talking. Like that shit right there. I love that. I'm excited for this match. I'm excited for the 5-on-5. To be honest with you, Danielson and Moxley look weird without Yuta.
Yeah.
I know Yuta's in Japan right now doing the best of Super Juniors, but Yuta has established himself, and it just feels weird seeing them without him.
No ice tonight, no jingle jangle.
But thank God for that, because man, re-listening to that shit in heaven, it folds. I like to see you wiggle, wiggle for sure.
Oh, that's gonna date this fucking episode.
Oh yeah. if for some reason we ever have people going back and rewatching episodes
other than
years
you.
ago, hey, yeah, that's true. That's probably true. But the women's segments on this show were not great. Maki Ito returning is a big plus for me. I thought her match with Britt Baker was okay.
Britt needed that more than anything else.
Britt needed the win. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I think she should make it to the finals. Yeah. No, she's taking on Toni Storm next week. Toni needs to win.
That's going to be the best match of the entire tournament, though.
Mm-hmm. Because who do we got left on the women's side? It's either going to be Statlander and Velvet, and who's
Ruby Soho. So here's my thing.
Toni Storm versus Soho is like
no Toni Storm versus Chris Statlander would be a better match, but I don't think Chris is going to win.
LT, thank you so much for subscribing for the 4th month in a row. Oh, 2 months in a row.
4 month subscriber would be on a 2-month streak. Thank you again, LT.
We love our subscribers.
Or ma'am.
It's a lieutenant. Of course, it's a man. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just killed our career right there.
Yep, you did. That's it. Yeah. Hey, LT, considering I don't have anything better to do tomorrow night now, would you like to go see Young Gravy and Limp Bizkit, or are you going to be on stage? Cheer, boy.
I got to work open to close, so I can't make it to that show. I'm a little upset about it.
I can't go for other reasons. We already know that.
No, but they set up some good things for the pay-per-view. I think the 6-man I think the 3-way tag is going to be great.
Yep. You fucking
Thank you for confirming for us. We appreciate it here.
You know what? Oh God, this irritates the shit out of me.
What?
This part irritates the fuck out of me.
Tell me, baby.
I really do want to see Jungle Boy, Ricky, and Swerve. I want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, do I want to see the other 3?
Yeah.
Give me 2 3-way matches. Give me the Hoss match. Give me the little guy match.
That's what I want to see. You want me to tune into Rampage? My God, you put the Hoss Fest. You put that Hoss triple threat onto the main event of Rampage. I'll tune in at 7 p.m. on a Friday.
You mean I get Will Hobbs, Keith Lee, and Luchasaurus? Hell yeah. And Luchasaurus is the weak spot in that match.
Yeah, he is. He is the weak spot in that match. But no, I'm going to enjoy the nice PWG triple threat, but I want the Hoss Fest. Mm-hmm. I want it all. I want big beefy men slapping the shit out of each other.
I really wish that triple threat was for the FTW belt.
No, it just gives it away at that point that Ricky's going to win.
See, I don't think so. I think Jungle Boy wins it. In that case, I think Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy is going to win on Wednesday. I do. I think he's going to pin Starks.
Yeah.
But if you ask me who should win the Hoss fight, that's Hobbs. Hobbs needs to be the Hoss.
Ask me a question. Ask me the question. Who do I want to? Who do I think should win the belts?
Who do you think should win the belts?
Hobbs and Starks.
Yep, I agree. I'm fucking bored with Jungle Boy and
I'm
Luchasaurus.
bored with them having the belts. I'm very
They're better
excited.
chasers.
I'm very excited for the Christian turn when I get to see Jungle Boy and Christian.
That's going to be an all-out match. It has to be.
I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. So to cover some things on the show, Samoa Joe defeated a debuting Johnny Elite in a, to me, okay match.
I wish he would have come out as Johnny Dynamite.
I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny. I don't like Johnny Elite, Mundo, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
Johnny Drip.
I think he's overrated.
I think he's just old.
Yeah, that's it. And he's still doing these fucking cruiserweight moves. Like I said, that Starship Pain looks like dog shit.
Did you hear them say that he only weighs 209 pounds?
That's a lie. That's a lie and a half.
I was like, no fucking way.
229. He's you tell me 229, I believe that, but 209, no. This motherfucker is not 4 pounds away from the cruiserweight title.
I could even believe 219 because like 10 pounds of muscle looks real. You know that. I could believe 219, like at 220.
Yeah.
I can't not.
Yeah, I know what 10 pounds of muscle looks like. Look at this big fucking Michigan grade sirloin.
I thought you were just gonna be right there. Just drop the beaver.
No,
tail.
I don't want to get Twitch banned. That's why I have to sit the whole podcast. It pokes out the fucking bottom of my pant leg.
Just don't wear shorts.
Why do you think I wear jeans all the time, motherfucker? I'm hot.
This podcast is brought to you by Gold Bonds. So when your dick rubs against your leg and chafes.
Dog, that's not even a joke. During the summer, I keep Gold Bonds in my fucking backpack.
Where the fuck is Implish? Are you in the chat? Because like he used to pop out and he'd be like, I got a real bad case of the fat man's disease. And he's over here just walking like this. Oh yeah.
There's some nights we need Russ. I think this is one of those nights. I'm slap happy as fuck.
I don't care. Whatever.
No.
We don't do that. Look, we've stated before. We do this for the fun of ourselves and to inform people if people want to watch wrestling. Honestly, I think one of the biggest problems that I see in podcasting in general is you have like 400 good podcasts, right? And then you've got 4 million podcasts that people are either just reading information and it's not something that you want the information read on, or it's people with too much or not enough personality, or they try to fake their shit. None of this is fake. This is how we are. We are this stupid. This is just you get what everybody else gets.
Listen, we're missing the third person in our trio of dumbasses, our friend Kevin. Ethan's wife likes to make the joke all the time that there is one brain cell between the three of us and we have to share it.
I could run downstairs and find it.
No, don't do that because we don't have a third man tonight.
But it might take me a minute. And I've seen you try to carry a show for a hot second.
Right now, not happening.
And it's not going on.
No, I'm looking forward to bed. But I want to give a shout out to Russ because we weren't here last week. Russ retained his On a Forklift championship. And the reason we weren't here last week was because Eating Braze finally got to me.
Eating Braze finally got to him, and Russ was on a bender in Cabo with his championship. Something about he stole a donkey and he rode it through a police station. But good news. He's back on this side of the border. He's in Philly or wherever the hell he lives.
Shut the fuck up.
He's cleaning stuff up off of his kitchen floor, which I'm assuming is just the tears of all the Philly fans. So our heart goes out to you, Russ, but still, fuck you. I'm getting that belt. Speaking of which, what was that shit?
What shit?
That fucking shit. Why did we let the tech intern get into the feed like that?
Dog, he's our fucking tech intern. He knows how to hack the shit. I thought we fucking. I'm high. I don't fucking keep up with this shit. I just have it on base settings. Hold on a second.
Sabini. Hey, Chelsea. So there.
Yeah.
I'll acknowledge football.
Yeah. Messi. There you go. There's your.
Did you say you said Messi? You were like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna name one of the most well-known people in the world.
Dog, it's like that one dude who walks up and goes, "Oh yeah, Wayne Gretzky." I know that hockey player. He's still playing?
I don't know where it's at. I used to have a John Terry shirt. So,
well, Sabani, we appreciate you popping up in the chat for just a minute to drop your knowledge about Frankfurt.
Yeah, actually, so one of the best things in the world. I haven't done it at this house because I just don't have the time that I used to. Like my schedule has changed. I used to wake up stupid early on Saturday mornings and watch Barclays, the Premier League soccer, so football, whatever. It was that was one of the greatest things in the world to do. That was great. Absolutely loved it. We actually, Sabini, so we're in the Metro Detroit area, and we have they're not an MLS team, but we have a real good football club here, Detroit FC, and they are quite. If you haven't had a chance, check them out. It's Detroit FC.
Detroit FC, the football club, because that's what FC stands for.
Yeah.
Getting your football knowledge here on a forklift. Anyways, moving on. Oh my God. We have a bunch of people in the chat. Let's continue to talk about wrestling.
I know.
So I think we can both agree that the match tonight was Ray Phoenix versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh, hands down. But look at the
match
people that were in the match.
It was Kyle O'Reilly and Ray Phoenix. They were fucking phenomenal together. Holy shit. There were moments in the match I thought they were botching. But if they were, you couldn't fucking tell because they just kept fucking moving. Because Kyle O'Reilly is the best fucking technical wrestler named Bryan Danielson. So
there's something that always gets me about this, and it's actually these two guys. And I've never paid attention because I don't think I've ever seen them wrestle a singles match together. Maybe I've not paid attention. I've watched a lot of fucking wrestling, guys. So
that's unfortunate. I'm heading down there tonight.
Well, see, there's your problem. You stopped at the intersection. If you don't stop. Oh, hey, look, there's a rule here in Detroit: no cop, no stop. Just go.
Yeah, you just keep rolling through the stop sign.
So,
oh shit.
What happened? He is here. He does exist. All right, Russ, you can have a minute in just a second when I'm done talking about Phoenix and Kyle O'Reilly. So those
and I are going to fight. Him and I are going to fight tonight.
You two are. Phoenix and O'Reilly.
I was trying to time this out to be the second half so that the second half of this show could also be exponentially worse than the first half.
Yeah, we're right on that point. We're actually right on that point. We're only going to go about 40 minutes tonight, so you're there. So Phoenix and O'Reilly are two of the most natural looking dudes ever when it comes to like fighting in the ring, because you could sell me that that's not like talked about ahead of time. There's just that slight little bit of like a misstep, but it's like they pick it right back up and go with it. It's actually subtle, but it's such a nice, refreshing take on a wrestling match.
Well, we like you.
Well, thank you. We're a hand.
Shut. Where is it?
Shut the fuck up.
2 tonight.
So Cody was
trying to find that GIF
tonight.
on a Facebook GIF search. Not easy.
What easy. GIF? The shut the fuck up one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made one myself because I couldn't find it.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah, there we go. Detroit versus everybody.
Thanks, LT. Represent everybody. Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, but anyways, Dynamite was very mid. We keep going back to that. There were 2 phenomenal matches on this show, and the rest was pretty mid. I don't really know what there's much to say about that. Me and Russ were fighting in our chat tonight about the Jokers because he was really happy to see Johnny Elite. I was not. And I was more than excited to see Maki Ito, and he thought it was an abomination and a disgrace. Russ.
You have the floor.
Well, Clint, this is the voice of the wrestling god. And I'm going
Morgan
to tell
Freeman?
you why. I'm going to tell you why your opinion is absolutely asinine. Well, first of all, the reason that Johnny Elite is a great a great Joker to come in is because he came in with no fanfare. No one expected him. And so he can lose to Samoa Joe. And that is fine. And yet, I'm supposed to believe that the better of the Jokers, the later in the show Joker, is going to be somebody who we have seen before. Except Tony Khan went on to Busted Open Radio today and said that both Jokers would be making their AEW debut. And yet they had video footage of the Lady Joker teaming with her opponent, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. That's a problem. No. That means that there was a lie. Maki Ito, or whatever the
oh, Russ is back.
All right, listen. You couldn't have gotten a much more... The only way this could have been more underwhelming is if Abaddon had shown up. There is absolutely...
hold up.
Yeah, I said it. I'm gonna fight you both. Nia Jax actually would have moved the needle more than Maki
It would have
Ito.
brought views.
Does he need on the scale? No. I think that, like, you got the Joker positions on this show made sense, right? Because in both cases, it's somebody that you have seen before, whether it's with AEW or without. And both ended up being people that you could put your preferred talent over. And it kind of subverted that expectation that whoever the Joker was going to go on to win the tournament, right? Because whenever you see a Joker show up on one of the AEW pay-per-views, there's typically the expectation they're going to win. See Brian Cage. Who else? There was somebody else. There have been others that have
Moxley.
won. Mox. But, like, no. Well, was he a Joker?
Moxley was never a Joker.
Oh,
Hangman was a Joker.
Hangman. Yeah.
Hangman was the Joker at the Philly show. And so, like, typically we're conditioned to believe that the Jokers are going to win. So to that end, Johnny Elite, that's fun. By the way, you guys saw the tweet, right? The one that tagged Johnny Gargano?
Yeah, and you know what? That fucked with me.
That's a spoiler. That's a spoiler for Double or Nothing, I guess. But so John Morrison showing up, that was fine. Clint, I didn't love it from the standpoint of, like, I think that Johnny Elite is going to be like the next big thing in AEW. It was because he looked credible. He's got the appearance of a credible pro wrestler. He can do some stuff. He played well off of Samoa Joe. That's it. He missed a bunch of moves. The 450 came up short. We saw him 2 or 3 times.
That wasn't a 450. That was a 360 with him flopping on his fucking stomach.
We saw this, right? The adjustment to the outside right before we went to picture-in-picture for the 17th time of the episode, even though it was the first match.
He's not good.
He's fine from a standpoint of a guy who looks physically credible in the ring with Samoa Joe. Fine. Maki Ito is a stupid addition.
She was fun.
Tournament.
She was fun. No. The Joker was never going to win. The winner of this tournament's going to be Toni Storm.
Can I present this to you in this way? Would you
what the fuck do you want?
No, would you have rather had Britt go against Red Velvet and say, or like Chris Statlander in the first round, or would you have rather had somebody who is unexpected, like a Red Velvet, to go against said Joker?
I think Maki could have been
I think the placement was good. I just don't know who else you would have brought in as a Joker against Britt. I think the problem here is having it against Britt when she's moving to the next round. It would be a heavy shock if your former women's champion and somebody who's in the top group of women in your company wasn't going to move on to that next round of that tournament.
So I think Maki Ito would have been fine if she had shown up as a first-round contestant in the tournament. But what you've effectively done here with the Joker spot is said that Maki Ito deserves to have a first-round bye. That's what this equates to. And didn't have to qualify to get in the tournament.
What does
that
it
doesn't
matter?
Make any sense.
It didn't matter because she was never going. The Joker was never going to win. They just wanted to have a pop. Why have it?
That pop
because
sure
the men
come,
have
pal.
it.
Go back and watch it. No, it didn't. It did not.
The entire beginning of that match, they were chanting for the both of them. That crowd was hot for the beginning of it. Sure, they cooled down off at the end, but they were hot at the beginning. Were you watching this on mute? Do you have selective hearing, Russ?
I don't.
Wow.
I fear that you might have had like some K-pop playing in the background. And
I didn't have it playing in the background. I had it
fucking
playing up on my phone.
Yeah.
Who would you? Okay,
that crowd didn't care about Maki Ito. And I'll tell you what, I guarantee you that when we go and we see the ratings for the show next week or in a few days when they come out, the rating for that segment is going to fall far off. Not quite as bad as it's going to fall off watching Serena Deeb's promo, but it's going to be pretty close.
Was bad. That was fucking bad. You could not have. I have found the piss break match at Double or Nothing.
No, see, the match is going to be good. I think the match itself will be good. Just they can't talk.
Yeah,
that'll be the match I fast forward when I get home.
So, see, I can't. I think that's actually going to be a banger of a match. I think that's going to be one of the better matches on the card because those two work really well together.
Well, I'm turning off all my social media and shit until I get home from the concert.
My question is,
here's what you
if you had the Joker in a more impactful place, who would you have chosen? Who would you have brought
Deonna Purrazzo. You've already had Deonna Purrazzo on an AEW program before. Or
Mickie
pull
James.
Somebody else who is part, or pull somebody. I honestly thought it was going to be Mickie James.
Camille Stackhouse.
Pull somebody who has, who's appeared on ROH. If you're going to continue to
Ellie Klein,
guys, we come back to this problem that like I pointed out last week or the week before, like this inherent need on AEW's part to like figure out a way to constantly integrate ROH where it just doesn't feel like it's necessary. None of it this week. Not a peep. Practically nothing whatsoever. I mean, we saw Sanjay Dutt and we saw Satnam Singh and we saw Jay Lethal early on. But other than that, like there was no ROH here. I think this would have actually been an okay time to say that's somebody who's held the women's title in ROH before, or that's somebody who, ran a course of terror in ROH. Maki Ito is not it. That is booking for a subset of a subset of a subset of wrestling fan, and Clint happens to be in that subset.
What's up? And now I'm going to praise it.
But for the rest of us, no.
A third of us in this channel are going to praise it.
If you would have put that match on Rampage, there wouldn't be the vitriol that there is. Because no one would have watched it.
I think there's
no vitriol. All I see is people on Twitter talking about the only negative thing I've seen on Twitter so far is Russ about Maki Ito coming back. Only negativity.
Echo Chamber Clint. Echo Chamber Clint. Very sad. Very sad. He only follows himself. He follows his brother. His brother, whose name I don't even remember. Not a nice guy. Lost his title. Very sad through his camera. Not a very nice guy, and quite frankly, probably gonna F-bomb in the comments. That's fine. Thanks for watching, pal. I'm here. You're not. Go home. Go to sleep. Good night. Buenas noches. Not a nice guy. Anyway, Ethan, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Am I wildly off base for being underwhelmed?
Or for which
part? Both?
The entire show? No.
No. The Maki Ito Joker.
No, I don't think you're off base for being underwhelmed on it. I just think that the underwhelming part would have been, I would be more underwhelmed if it wasn't for the fact that she was going against Britt and Britt was already going to win that round. I think if you were to say, hey, Chris Statlander's going up against a Joker and the Joker comes in and it's not Maki Ito, it's somebody credible. Chris Statlander loses. Because Chris against Red Velvet looks like Chris is going to move on. I think she's actually going to lose. I think Red Velvet's going to move on because it helps the baddies. It helps that story of it. But that Chris Statlander is one of your very credible looking wrestlers.
Mommy.
So when you have that person go against somebody who's already established in your company, somebody who's had a title shot, a legitimate title shot, it helps with it. So if you were to move somebody like a Deonna Purrazzo in there and she's like, well, I'm going to take care of that, that would have made more sense to me. I just don't know the contract situation with Deonna Purrazzo. So I'm trying to look outside of that and not use her as the A1 example. Even honestly, in this case, what I would have preferred to go against Britt Baker, Chelsea Green. And it's
That's
because
that's assuming the Impact thing is still
Right.
going on, right?
Well,
Because that
they're
looked like a
letting
1 week
they're
thing, but maybe not.
They had
they're
Deanna
letting.
Purrazzo.
So that was because she
and
had the
W
ROH
Morrissey,
title.
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
but
and
I think
the
that
other
was
thing about
both
her,
of those were in the same week, correct?
Yeah.
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 The other thing about the other thing that's there about Chelsea Green though is they let her go off and wrestle GCW and shit like that as well. She's not a primary talent for them. So, or if you were to like get Tennille or somebody like that, that would have moved the needle a little bit more than Maki. You needed somebody who had an established name in the North America and like the North America before you got to that Western Hemisphere, whatever you want to call it. So,
Stop shitting on my girl.
I'm not shitting on your girl. I'm just saying for the Joker in that spot, I don't dislike Maki Ito. Let me clarify. But I didn't need an Orange Cassidy bit in that spot. I didn't need a Danhausen, who was also missing from this show.
Because he's going to be on Rampage.
Oh, I know, but
I mean, listen, there is a time that I could totally wrap my head around seeing Maki Ito. I could see Maki Ito, Monday nights on YouTube on Dark Elevation, and that would be a great place for Maki Ito to get a little bit of exposure, and maybe a little bit of
Maki Ito
practice
on
in
an
the ring.
ROH
Get
show
some
when it
reps.
comes around.
Yeah, I don't know. Clint's upset.
I would like to take
That's
this
okay.
time in this podcast to thank our wonderful subscribers. We'd like to give a special shout out to LT Shiny Sides, Implishes, and Nightmare Cuda. Thank you all for subscribing to our channel. Also, here's my passport photo. Let's just really
mugshot.
pile it on.
I wouldn't put that out in public.
Oh. It's already out there. It's going to be my passport photo for the next 7 years.
They changed them from 10 to 7?
I don't know.
Anyway.
He doesn't even know.
I'm high. Shockingly.
They only gave him 7. They're like, I don't know. This looks so much like a mugshot that we're gonna limit this 7.
That
Years.
or
If you make it through the 7,
That or-
we'll give you the extra 3 on an extension.
That or
So-
they just don't have a lot of faith in you to make it to 10. Wow,
So match of the night was
Kyle
the match
O'Reilly
of the
and Ray
night?
Phoenix.
I think so too. And that was in
Yeah.
the second hour, right? Was that?
Yeah.
That was second hour.
Yeah.
That was I believe, top of the second hour.
Yeah. Very good match. Very good.
I definitely thought so.
But the
I
Second
thought
hour of Dynamite.
I thought Hangman's match was really good too.
Yo, with my dude against him, whose name I never say right.
I am not even gonna try to pronounce it because I read it and I just keep reading out "take a shit."
They say Takeshita, right? I'm pretty sure he says Takeshita,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it looks like Takeshita, but
Yeah.
it's Takeshita, so we're gonna go with it.
It's got the
Takeshita-
Asuka thing. The vowel is removed in the
Yeah.
middle.
Okay.
Takeshita is like the perfect example of I had no effing idea who this guy was. Wrestled in DDT. Looks like a credible body to put across from the world
He's a
champ.
big dude.
Mhm.
Has an interesting style. I think is pretty young. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. But like, if this is where I come back to, if we're trying to play the game where you're trying to do as much crossover as possible with other promotions, right?
26. He's
A guy
26.
a guy like that looks credible. A guy like that makes sense. And so, and by the way, there's no need for Excalibur to like have a 10-minute diatribe about all these other guys that I've never heard of that Takeshita's beaten. He mentioned 3 people, I think, at some point as being people that Takeshita had beaten in the past, and that was fine. But I don't even need the backstory because I can look at the guy and say, all right, he's a little bit bigger than the world champ. He's got an interesting style. He's not a pushover. He's a credible guy to get in the ring with. That match was fine.
It was. It was a
thought
good match. I thought it worked well.
The finisher stealer, going with the GTS, kind of harkening back to Punk to using the buckshot. Cool. One issue though. It's how that match ended. Hangman hits the buckshot, and Takeshita pops up immediately so that they can get to the GTS. And that, to me, is a problem.
Undersells the
Other than that, we're
buckshot.
good. It
Hey,
does,
fun
and
little
it does it dramatically so.
Yeah.
So fun little tidbit here, because I'm reading his DDT stuff right now. He, in his debut match, he lost to a long lost soul, one Mr. El Generico, in his official debut match for DDT. He was
All those years
17,
ago.
by the way. He was 17. Also, the one thing that there was one thing that Excalibur said, that because I like his knowledge of pro wrestling, this was the one thing that I thought was necessary to say, though, because it ties into AEW. He noted that Tetsuya Endo, who we don't know of, but Takeshita tag teams with, beat Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi for the tag titles. So that, if you're tying it, I think if you're tying it in to the company and it's somebody we know, especially like a Kenny Omega, that's okay to mention because it gives that guy some credibility. That on name basis, you get credibility with that. But you didn't need he's like Keiji Muto, and everybody's like, or Keiji Muto, and Muto, and you're like, that's the Great Muta. Like, you could say the Great Muta, and people are going to understand it. But if you don't know, you don't know.
Yep.
So the one thing that I'm going to say in regards to the ending of the match, as Russ talked about, Russ, can I implore you? And I don't know if you've ever seen this. Take a second, find a YouTube clip for me. It is Leo Rush popping up from a power bomb off of scaffolding or a ladder.
Let's move on because, like I said, I'm tired and I did not want to run long tonight.
No, I know, but I'm just saying we talk about not selling something. Just take a second and watch that whenever you can. It's basically
Here we go. Through a table at CZW.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be upset if I watch this.
Oh yeah. No, I want to see live reaction. It's not going to take that long.
All right, here we go. We got some headbutts. All right, here comes the power bomb. And he landed right on his head. Why does he back up?
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're saying.
But why?
So that's stupid. That's the problem. That's a similar scenario. I think the difference here is
it's dumb.
These guys,
and then it leads to the package pile driver, and that's the finish. Yeah, oh no, that's not the finish. He kicked out of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's dumb.
You'd be dead.
That's really
You'd
dumb.
be dead. And so there's one person that does this. There's one person that does this stuff that I'm okay with. Like when Sting gets hit with a steel chair and he just kind of does the Sting thing. It's Sting. Yeah. When he does that, I'm okay with that because I know that's not going to lead to him getting a title match.
Yeah.
But in a case like this, I guess the only thing that it does for me when he pops right back up is it's kind of like a shock thing. But what I didn't like is that he couldn't hold that Northern Light suplex pin before that because of his neck, but then he could pop right back up after he gets hit. That's the biggest issue with that. So I'm with you. I think the next thing we wanted to touch on, though, kind of before we wrap stuff up,
briefly,
is Sasha Banks, Naomi stuff.
Yeah, briefly. People are calling it a work. It doesn't really seem like a work. It seems like it seems like they're both disgruntled with the booking of something that Sasha feels very proud of, like those tag titles. She's always wanted those tag titles, and they've never been booked right.
So WWE just doesn't book a lot of stuff right in general. And if you're Naomi, I think this is a very dicey situation to tie yourself to. I understand a sense of self-pride, but you are in a position where somebody that you are tied into is basically is in the top faction in the company and is seeing premier TV time. And then that in turn helps you get those tag titles. I think it does a little bit. I think it's a little bit. And I think that there is always that potential for them to pull her into the bloodline. Mm-hmm. I would just be very careful if you're Naomi. But the only saving grace here is Naomi has had such a good reputation with the company in the past that I think a forgiveness level for her is much more likely than Sasha and all of her previously documented issues that she's had, which is unfortunate because she is a very good worker. And I understand being disgruntled in a place. It's just sometimes it feels like she's always disgruntled.
I don't want to speak too much on the subject, to be honest with you, because we don't know everything. Neither of them have spoken about the situation themselves. So until one of them speak, it's all he said, she said kind of thing right now.
The thing,
and I don't ever wanted to. What was that?
The thing from the friend was interesting. The thread that was going around, an hour or two after the show, is interesting. And if all of that is true, I mean, look, there are a few different ways you can look at this. They might have looked at their situation and said, all right, well, Naomi's married to Jimmy Uso. They are not going to retaliate against Jimmy Uso. Because if they did, who are they going to piss off? Roman Reigns, who happens to be the most important person on either show. So they're not going to retaliate there. If you're going to try to make a point, if you're Naomi, it makes sense to do it knowing that your husband is part of the most important storyline in all of the company, arguably in all of pro wrestling, sports entertainment. Sasha makes sense in that she's got the most crossover appeal of anybody who's on either roster. The Mandalorian thing is huge. That could open the gates to her feeling like she doesn't ever have to wrestle again. So if you're not going to satisfy the creative ideas that those two share, or especially that Sasha shares, and then Sasha can look and go, all right, I have these other opportunities. I have these other acting opportunities. There's a reason The Rock hasn't come back to pro wrestling, right? He became the number one movie star. I'm not saying that she's going to become that, but like there certainly will be roles for her to play. There will certainly be acting opportunities for her. And if she doesn't feel fulfilled there, then it is what it is. I made the joke in our little group chat, but I do think that this is going to potentially lead to there being, like, WWE has to be very careful here because conceptually they might be in the right if they go after like a breach of contract, but something tells me that this doesn't go that far because the second that they open themselves up to litigation on what is and is not acceptable for a 1099 employee, for a freelance employee, and then you take into consideration how thorough and ridiculous and over the top and controlling these contracts are for freelancers, it stands to reason that if this became a more public battle and got risen to the level of, say, like a Supreme Court issue, which it very well could, that is a battle that WWE does not want to have on their hands. They cannot win that. Even if they win in court, they will lose in the court of public opinion, more so than they ever have before. I don't think that this is going to lead to them letting these two women walk. I don't necessarily think that they're going to come back around and be happy with their jobs. I don't know how this ends, but I certainly don't think it's just going to be they're going to go after breach of contract and have these women sit at home for the next however many months or years remain on their contract. I just don't see it.
Yeah, but no, John Cena did say shit like that about The Rock. But now John Cena's doing it, and he's apologized to The Rock for the things he said.
Yep.
So
I think the only difference there is I think unlike The Rock, Cena's never fallen out of love with the wrestling business. And I totally understand why The Rock did too. I mean, he grew up around it. He had so much more involvement in it than Cena did. So you saw a lot of other stuff that could have set you off from it.
Yeah. Yep. But like I told you guys earlier, we were doing a quick show tonight because I am exhausted. So we're going to use this opportunity to sign off here. I feel like we had a lot of good points. I feel like we shit on me enough.
We didn't shit on you, Clinton. That's a Cleveland Steamer, and none of us live in Ohio.
Oh, thank God for that.
But we're going to sign. Speaking of Cleveland and Ohio, online sports betting could be coming by the end of this year.
Nice.
And you can find out all about it by following Russell Joy at Joy on Broad.
That's right.
You can follow Ethan at Jensen Collins 3. Sorry, someone ran 2 hits real quick.
And you can follow
Clint. You can follow Clint
at PK Batman. When you can also
I was going to say at Maki Ito Superfan number one XXX number 1. But
I think you
PK
mean
Batman
lowercase
too.
x, lowercase x, uppercase x,
Uppercase
Maki,
X, lower.
and extra yes.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
Get it all out of your system now.
You can follow him at Clint Cocaine on MySpace.
Yeah, all right. Good night, everybody.
Love you, Judy.